Yay, Disney live-action adaptations. Let's rank them from trash to less trash to finger-licking good to great. This video is obviously based around my opinion, so don't come for me if you disagree with my ranking, but I will be backing up each ranking with solid and mostly objective reasons as to why I ranked them where I did, so if you want to fight, you better be able to back it up. No, I don't want any fighting, let's move on. So I'm only ranking the direct adaptations of the Disney animated films. So Tim Burton's 2010 Alice in Wonderland film doesn't count because it wasn't based on Disney's animated film so much as it was a sequel to the story of Alice in Wonderland, not the Lewis Carroll book, just the story, because it contradicts even what happened in the book. And none of the beloved Disney iconography is revived either. Maleficent will also not be included because it wasn't an adaptation of Sleeping Beauty but a twist on it. The 90s Jungle Book movie also doesn't count, and neither does 101 Dalmatians because they're not part of the modern wave of live-action movies, so it's a bit more difficult to put them besides the others. Okay, so let's get to ranking. From worst to best. I know this will be controversial for some of you, and most of you will be very much on the same page because woof. But dead last is Mulan. I made a whole video about this already, so you can check that out, but this thing gets worse and worse every day that goes by, and I'm actually in shock with how bad this was because, like, the first couple of trailers were pretty good, despite the blasphemous absence of Mushu and music, but the actual movie was a flat, hollow, ridiculous flop of a movie that claimed to be a more serious, grounded take on the story, which would have been cool if that were true, but it had way more supernatural elements than the animated movie, and may have been bone dry in its execution, but was by no means grounded. It turned Mulan into a superhero with special powers that she has from the very beginning. There's no growth or struggle for her character other than her having to hide the fact that she is perfect. In the animated movie, she was a girl who was uncomfortable in her own skin and didn't know her place in the world, and she sacrificed her life to go to war and protect her father, despite having no skills to survive. The stakes are not that high in the new film. There's much less of a sacrifice for the character, and the character has no personality, and all this leads to there being no emotional depth or power or anything compelling beyond the surface. The film strips the animated film of its heart, its iconography, its drama, its epicness. Yes, you may hear people, including Disney and filmmaker Nikki Caro, call the 2020 film the ultimate epic version of Mulan, but just compare the pivotal scene from the animated film of Mulan deciding to leave for war with the epic music and the stormy rainfall to the 2-second long scene in the live-action film, which has no impact. Compare the avalanche scene and the final acts of both films, and you'll see the animated film has a larger scale and better cinematic sensibilities. And literally, all the most important moments are either rushed over or completely removed. Like, essential reflection scene? Gone. And therefore, the character of Mulan is a piece of cardboard. It's just the biggest gap in quality between an animated movie and its live-action adaptation, and watching these films back-to-back is mind-blowing because the blueprint for a good Mulan movie was there in the animation. If they wanted to be more historically accurate, that's cool, but the film removes Mushu, the beloved iconic essential character, from the animation and removes all the songs, amongst multiple other drastic changes, in the name of quote-unquote historical accuracy. But not only is the addition of a witch and a phoenix completely inaccurate historically, but Chinese people are saying it's not at all accurate to Chinese culture like Disney claimed it was. I could go on and on about this mess, but this could have been an epic, stunning, emotional Disney war fantasy that balances the essential iconography of the animation, including Mushu, with more respectful, grounded Chinese sensibilities. I could say more, but I'm tired. So the next Disney live-action film in this ranking is the 2019 Dumbo. Now, the trailers for this film actually looked really, really good and promising and heartfelt and emotional, which makes sense because for the most part, the art direction is good and Dumbo is cute, and since the original film is so short, simple, and impressionistic, it totally makes sense for the template of a modern live-action version of it to tell the original story in the first act of the film and then expand upon it for the rest of the film and let it go in its own direction from there. So they can be more faithful, but also provide something of their own and build upon the world and legacy of Dumbo. But oh, this was not good. I could go on about how the direction the story went wasn't strong or interesting, how the characters were completely blank and the acting was weak, but this thing feels off and emotionally empty from the very beginning. And I think the major issue is something that most people wouldn't notice: the editing. Right from the start, the editing is so rapid and fast-paced, they never linger on a shot for more than a second. So we aren't ever able to absorb what is happening on screen, and we never feel any of the emotional beats or the character moments because they're basically just flashes. I got teared up watching the trailer, but I felt absolutely nothing watching the movie, and that's a problem. So I think better editing would have made this thing a lot better and possibly even saved it, but it's just kind of a mess. Okay, next. The 2019 Lion King. So this film is just plagiarism. It's exactly the same as the animated movie, but with photorealistic animation and a new voice cast, so you could say it's good, but that's only because the 1994 original Lion King was good. This replicates it, but with much less artistry, much less emotion, much less energy, much less of a compelling direction, and just makes everything more bland. This could have been an opportunity to expand upon the original with more detail and complexity, as all Disney live actions should, and they could have even dug deeper into the fact that the story is based on Hamlet and make it more sophisticated. And once you see the opening scene recreated with photorealistic imagery, you know exactly what the rest of the film would look like because they're lions and they mostly look the same. It's not like Beauty and the Beast where you can anticipate how characters, set pieces, and costumes will look in live action because there's a variety there. Not much variety with The Lion King. You can literally watch the opening scene, leave the theater, and picture how the rest of the movie will look and not only be incredibly accurate, but your imagination probably conjures up something more compelling than what the actual movie offers. Okay, so now we're getting into good territory. So all of the rest of the films on this list, I mostly think of in a fond or positive way. Next, we have the 2019 Disney Plus live-action adaptation of Lady and the Tramp. I don't have much to say about this one other than it being simple, sweet, and delightful. It's a modern celebration of the animation that is truly faithful to what came before, but definitely adjusts to modern sensibilities in a suitable way. It's small scale and nothing spectacular, but it's a lovely watch. Next is 2017's Beauty and the Beast. This film is just pure, unapologetic enchantment and nostalgia. It brings the animated film to life, scene for scene, but not shot for shot, expanding and elaborating upon it with detail and offering up sequences that are similar yet alternative to the original, but spiritually the same. The theater experience of watching this movie just brought me pure joy. With that said, it objectively is a flawed movie and lots of people have problems with it. I already made a whole video talking about how I would fix it, so you can watch that for more detail, but basically Emma Watson was a controversial choice for Belle, especially because she's not a singer and the filmmakers auto-tuned the hell out of her, and some of the creative and story choices took away the power and depth and lead chemistry away from the animated movie, making it feel more hollow and empty rather than what it was going for, more complex. Next is the 2016 Jungle Book. This one had an advantage over the other adaptations because the original animated Jungle Book is more fluid and episodic, rather than having to follow certain character and story beats. So there was plenty of room for the live-action film to explore, expand, and provide new material while still bringing the iconic elements from the animation to life. It uses groundbreaking modern technology to expand upon and celebrate the legacy of the animated movie and was the first adaptation to incorporate the music of the animated film into the actual movie, which made it even more delightful and nostalgic. I do wish the jungle vibes were stronger and more mystical and magical and vibrant, and that's one of the many problems director Jon Favreau also had with The Lion King. Despite impressive technology, the visual look is flat, but this is a good one. Next is Guy Ritchie's 2019 Aladdin. If this film had better, less cheap-looking costumes and more grand, big-scale set pieces, it would probably be the best Disney live-action adaptation. But alas, the eyesore costumes and the underwhelming sets not only don't photograph well, which is why everyone thought the film would be awful before it was released, but it does cheapen the atmosphere a bit and limits it from feeling like the big blockbuster it should be. Other than that though, this movie is the perfect example of what a Disney live-action adaptation should aim for. It has the best template out of any of the others by balancing the old with the new. You get to see all of the sequences you love from the animation with a fresh, invigorating sense of life, but there's so much more material and added nuances that actually work. The chemistry between the characters is genuine, the romance feels legit, the new complexities strengthen the story and characters, the music is updated to perfection. All the characters are charming, except for Jafar, which is just bad casting. It's so undeniably fun and delightful and very well done and a wonderful companion to the animated movie. Okay, we're at number 1. The best Disney live-action adaptation is, in my opinion, Kenneth Branagh's 2015 Cinderella. This movie is just pure magic. It's just impossible not to get swept up in this enchanting, beautifully directed film that not only pioneered the trend of faithful live-action adaptations, but perfectly captures the spirit of the 1950 animated classic and retelling it through a more nuanced live-action lens. It's absolute fairy tale escapism, from the lavish sets to the most stunning costumes I've ever seen to the incredible casting, especially Lily James, who captured the warmth and elegance of Cinderella perfectly. That doesn't mean the film doesn't have its faults. It was the first of these faithful adaptations, so it was sort of testing the waters, and while it was very true to the story and spirit of the 1950 film, it does confusingly disregard some of the most iconic aspects like the imagery and music that would have been exciting to see in live action. The iconic Cinderella castle is different. The looks of some of the characters could have been tweaked to be a bit more in line with the looks of the originals. And I don't know why they couldn't have used the original music. I would have died to see the Sing Sweet Nightingale bubble sequence in live action, as well as Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. And if this film didn't want to be a musical, they could have still replaced the Lavender's Blue song that Ella sings with A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes. Despite my nitpicks, which I have with every adaptation, this one wins in quality, rewatchability, and magic. So, what is your ranking of the Disney live-action adaptations? Is it similar to mine, or do you think I'm nuts? Let me know. Bye.